Hello and welcome to the It Was All a Dream official podcast. I am your host, Ashley Graham. It always makes me laugh to do that. Okay, so guys, we've recorded the episode 1 and it's going to be a part 2. This episode is about my journey, it's about my business, and I've just got so much. I'm trying to squash 8 years into 1 hour. So we are going from a part 1 to a part 2. So next episode will be part 2, and I hope that you enjoy part 1. Okay, so my name is Ashley. I am the owner of Elegance. Elegance is a skin clinic, a skin academy. It is a skincare brand, and I have now got a podcast. So I didn't always start off self-employed. My background is in dental nursing, so I was actually a dental nurse for most of my life, maybe, but coming up to self-employment is probably going to be longer next year. But for most of my life, I was a dental nurse. But before then, and before we get started in all my jobs, I am just going to give you a little background of just where I grew up and how I grew up. So my mum and dad have been entrepreneurs and they own their own business. So growing up in my house was literally like Dragon's Den. I always say having a Sunday roast in my mum and dad's was like an episode of Dragon's Den. So my dad used to do markets when I was younger. My first job, actually, before the market, my first job was that I was a fortune teller in the street, because I found out somewhere down the line that I had travellers in my family, in like my great ancestors, like my great nan or something was a traveller, and I was obsessed with fortune tellers. So the first job that I ever had is I lent my mum's hoop earrings. I set up a table in the front garden. I had like a crystal ball, and I would charge the kids 50 pence for me to tell their fortune. And then it was a very successful business. I was making so much money until my brother David, he found me on the dark web looking at witches' potions and like dark magic, something on the lines of that. So my mum decided that it probably wasn't the best for like a 7-year-old to be looking up stuff like that. So she took that business off me. So that's how I first started. But as you can tell, I've always been entrepreneurial. I've always been destined to own my own business. My father, then, he used to do markets. So he used to go on to, if you're from Liverpool, you'll know there was this great market in Walton Church. Now, my dad used to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and this is definitely where I have got it from, and this is just being brought up in this environment has just been so beneficial to me, and just, you know, you literally are a product of your environment, and I literally learned everything from my parents. So my mum and dad have got their own story, and it's a fabulous story, and they are just fantastic entrepreneurs, and one day I'm hoping to get them onto the podcast and they can tell their story. So this is the thing with this podcast, is I only ever want to tell my side of the story. I don't want to tell somebody else's for them. But just like a little for content, my dad used to do market stalls, and he used to sell like old antiques, like lawnmowers, tools. He had the franchise on like the tips. So he used to get like tools, lawnmowers, tellies, bits of antiques, bits of bric-a-brac, stuff like that. So my dad would actually sell out by 9 o'clock. Like most of the people would be waiting and standing for my dad. They used to wait for him. So we'd get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and he'd drive to like the car booth. It wasn't a market, it was like a car booth. He'd drive to the car booth, and then it would still be very dark, so I'd wake up, they'd set up, and obviously it was heavy lifting and stuff, so I'd sit in the front of the van, and then I would get my cheeseburger and my hot chocolate at like 6 a.m, say 6, and then I was ready for work. So I would have my own 50 pence stall, and I would stand, and it would be like all little bits of antiques, all little bits of bric-a-brac, and My mum once made me like sandwich bags of like different clips and bobbles, and I would stand in and I would be like you've got to imagine, because obviously so Scouse, so common, and I'd be like, roll up, everything is 50p, and I'd have like me pajamas or maybe like a velour trackie like tucked into me socks, and like it'd be freezing cold. It was like that time of the morning, and people had all come. So like one of my most fondest memories, and one of my like that I'll always just treasure, is once my dad had finished in that, and like obviously you've got to understand, you'd have your good days and your bad days, and I would always feel it on the way home. So like if it like started to rain mid-market or something, you'd know that he'd have to pack up, and like you could feel the atmosphere. Or if he'd had a good day, you'd know that he couldn't wait to get home. And then when they get home, my mum would always be cooking the breakfast, so she'd be in the kitchen like making a breakfast. My dad would go upstairs and he used to just put the money that he's made on the table. So they put their money on the table and I'd put my money on the table. I'd have like all my 50 pence jars, and my mum and dad would like my mum would sort the money out, and then she'd say like, because my dad's never interested in any of that bit, you know, like the wages and so they go like that, and then they'd know how much money, because their thing is that like Sunday night was their night out. So all the wages and everything would be paid or whatever, and then they'd have the Sunday night money. So I would sit next to them on the table, and I'd have all my 50p's and I'd collect them all, and then I'd be like, I had a boss week this week, I've made £15, or like, I only made £3 this week, you know, like little sly, like people would like come over, and I swear like they would, but it didn't matter that I was like 8 or 9, they would bargain me down. They'd be like, we take 20p for it, and I'd be like, I will not take 20p for it. All right, I'll give you 30p. And I'd be like, Dad, what do you reckon? Do you think 30p? My dad would be like, I think 35p, you know, like, and like, honestly, I just was taught so young about just, you don't realise until you get older how like programmed, and just how like stuff that you just picked up when you're younger. So I was definitely always supposed to be an entrepreneur. I was always supposed to own my own business, but I actually didn't know that for a long time. So I went into the employment side. So I went to Holly Lodge School, and all my GCSEs were all in dance and drama. Every single one of them was media, dance, and I thought that I was going to like own a dance school, like own a ballet school or something like that. Took all my exams and like passed with got all like medals and certificates in like ballet gold and silver, bronze, tap and stuff like that. So when I left school, I was actually going to go to sixth form, and I was going to start sixth form, and I was going to do media, dance, drama. And there's like a tradition I don't know whether it's like a Liverpool thing, whether it's a senior school thing, or it was just a Holly Lodge thing, I don't know, but you get drunk on the last day of school. There's like a roller by my old school, so you would sneak the alcohol in, like, sorry if any of my teachers are listening, but you would like sneak the alcohol in, and then you would you'd have like a drink on the last assembly. Don't know whether I'm pure incriminating myself, but then you would finish school and you would go to the rally. So I took it to, so my mum was never one for letting me drink on the streets, you know, like, thank God, it's so dangerous. But she decided that she didn't want me to miss out. She didn't want me not to have this like opportunity with my friends, because you're not going to see them again. You know, you never. Luckily enough, I have still got a few friends from school, but you stop seeing most of them. So me mum being me mum, she decided that I was allowed to drink, but I was going to take a bottle of champagne and I was going to take plastic flutes, because if anybody does know my mum, that is my mum all over. So here's everybody else in the school assembly, and like they've got like a bottle of Lucozade with like vodka, Smirnoff vodka, or like Lamborghini was like the thing, and I've got like Moe, I think it was Moe or Lanson, and like she wouldn't even like let me have like the thing. There was like plastic flutes. So we'd drank our alcohol, left school, said goodbye to everyone, and then me and a few of my mates decided that it was going to be a great idea to go back into the school highly intoxicated and shout up to the head of year's window what we thought about her. I mean, like, why wouldn't we do that? It's not like we're not going back in 6 weeks to be in sixth form. Like, I don't know, but I blame the champagne. So we got a very strict letter in the post, and the postman kindly informed me that I was not allowed on the premises of school and I would not be allowed to go back to sixth form. So even though my mum had agreed to the champagne, she definitely hadn't agreed to me trespassing back into the school and telling the head teacher what I thought of her. So she dragged me to this Connections. So when you were younger, I don't know if they've got it or not now, but everybody that's my age, you'll know, there was like this, like a place that you could go. It was called Connections, and it would find, like, I don't know whether it was like a job centre or it was for young people and they would find jobs. So we went to Connections. Now, it was first day of the summer holidays, so there was no summer holidays for me. Like, if I'd fucked with my future, then the summer holidays is forgot about, and I was getting a job and starting that job the next day. She dragged me to Connections. So me being me, there was a big massive board, and there was like a lady, and my mum had told her the story and said, she's not going to be able to go back into the school. What do you advise? So she was like, have a little look at the board. And I was like, what makes the most money? Just me all over. And she was like, well, you can go into, there was a few options now. She was like, well, probably what gives you the highest hourly pay right now at your age is the dental nursing. And I was like, because it's just like, just couldn't be bothered with like, I was like, yeah, I want to be a dental nurse. Yeah, let's do a dental nurse. So I had to go. My mum was like, you don't even go to the dentist. You're petrified of the dentist. And I was like, I want to be a dental nurse. You know what? I've always thought about this. I think it'd be a good opportunity. Yeah, I think I'll be a dental nurse. So you went to, it was such a good, I always now, when I have like parents come into the clinic and stuff and the kids are leaving school and if they don't really know what to do and they don't really, I always like throw them that way. I'm like, honestly, it's such a good job. Like, it's such a good starter job, and it's opened up so much opportunities for me, crazy opportunities that have started from dental nurse. And I do believe that also it was my work ethic and just the way I was when I generally, I run my business and I put the same amount of work in as to when I was cleaning the toilets in a nursery that I worked in. Like, I just work hard. If you tell me to do something, I'm going to do it correctly and I'm going to do it properly. It's just the way I am. I've got such a good like work ethic in me, which obviously comes from my mum and dad. So you went to college for like 3 days a week, and then you was on placement, which I think was brilliant. I think that's the way I learn, and that's definitely, if you'd have sat me into college for 5 days a week and stuff, I probably wouldn't have ended up qualifying. So I went to it was Atlantic Dental in Croxteth. It was Roger Hollins was the dentist, and honestly, like, I always think about this, and I got my work ethic from my mum and dad and my hard work, but I got my how to work under pressure with Roger, because working in an NHS dentist, like, you have got to be organised, you've got to be on the ball, you've got to be, he generally, like, if anybody goes to that dentist or did go to the dentist, they will know what we're talking about, or any of the dental nurses that used to work with me. Like, he would have 4 patients in at 9 o'clock and then 3 in at 9:10, and then he just was like bam 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 bam, and you had to like be on the ball. Like, if you ever want to know how much pressure you can handle with an emergency half-8 dentist in the NHS, and you will definitely see if you can handle it or not. I was fantastic at it. I think I thrive under pressure. I always have. Like, my most successful months and my most brilliant ideas have come from my worst months. They've come from, shit, I have not got the rent this month, so what am I doing? What can I do to generate money? And so I started with Roger, And I worked there for years and years, and he literally, I was so blessed. And like, honestly, like I still to this day, it's crazy. Still to this day, I still have dreams, and I'm a dental nurse, and I'm waking up to go to the dentist. And then I'm like, oh no, I own my own business now. So he took me right through to sedation. We done implantology, Leibniz. Like I was literally like, by the time I was 19, 20, somewhere around there, I was like, I'd done mostly everything. And I always thought that I was going to go and do back to uni and do a dental therapist. Still to this day, if all else fails, like that is my path and that's where I'm going. And like, honestly, one thing about me is I literally need 9 lives. Like, I'm not even joking. There's so much that I know that I can never do because there's not enough time. Where like, I'd love to be a doctor, a plastic surgeon. Like I don't even know whether I've got like I know I haven't got the academics for it, but I would get it like 100%. But there's like, I just don't have that many years left to be anymore. Like I've set all this up. I'd love to be a bioscientist. I'd like to do like, honestly, I just need like 20 lives. Like, please, if that is true, just let me keep coming back and let me just relive all these careers that I want. One of them is definitely not working as well, which is funny. Ross always says to me, Ross is my partner, and he always says like, if you win the lottery, you would still work. And I'd be like, absolutely. Can you think about all the things I'd be able to set up? This would be like, it would just like cut me time in half, and I'd be able to just do everything now instead of all these stages and steps that I have to wait. So I done dental nursing. I travelled around dental nursing and worked in a few different dentists. I actually left Roger Holland's Atlantic Dental. Sorry, hopefully you don't mind me saying your full name. I actually left it because I moved over to Africa, like just on like a wild. My mum and dad had a bar and restaurant, which is obviously their story. They had a bar and restaurant in the Gambia. So I moved over to the Gambia for a little bit, thought that I was going to do that whole traveling thing. Lasted no longer than 5 weeks, 2 months maybe. I am a Liverpool home bird. Like, I am a home bird. I miss home after 10 days holiday. So the fact that I thought I was going to be able to do that is just crazy. So I think I was employed in that. And then when I come back from Gambia, there was a few employments. My mum and dad had a washing machine and dryer, like second-hand shop. And I ran that for a little bit, and that is honestly the best job I ever had, because any money that come in that till was then transferred to an IOU to my dad. Me and my sister ran it together, so you can only imagine. So every time we'd sell a washing machine, this again may be a Liverpool thing, it may be like, I'm sure it happens all over, but there would always be shoplifters that had come in, and they would have like been selling, I don't know, jewelry, jammies, makeup, I don't know, anything. And when they come in, I would literally be like, I owe you 20 quid. And then I'd buy whatever I wanted off like the girls that had come in to sell. And then obviously they would just come in every other day because they knew I'd always buy it. At one point, I remember my sister was like, you don't even want that, I can tell, but you're too scared of it. And I was petrified of it. And I was like, yeah, I'll have it. And she was like, I know you don't want that. But I was just so scared to like say, no, I don't want it. So ran a washing machine job, and then I started to get into like obviously being around the family business a little bit more. So I've got 5 siblings, and my 3 brothers all run their own businesses. They're all self-employed, and then my sister is absolutely smashing the game at the minute. She's just had a big promotion in her field, and she's smashing. So we've definitely all got that in. Just like a funny little off story. Kate, my sister, right, this is what I'm going to have to say. I'm going to have to put it out there because I know this first video is just all my family watching and stuff, is if you don't want me to say something in the podcast, you're generally going to have to start saying like, don't use that in the podcast. Oh my God, who am I? Like, Netflix, you've got my details. Who the hell am I? Don't use that in the podcast. But you're going to have to start saying that to me. So Kate sent me a message the other day, and she'd reshared something of mine, and she a friend had inboxed her and said, I've just been having a look at your sister's aesthetics company. Wow, she must be nearly a millionaire. And like, honestly, that's such a big compliment, and it's so, but it literally done my head in. Like, it done my head in, because I was like, you would think that, like, you generally would look around, and you definitely, I can see how she would think that. And then, so I told Kate, calm down. And I said to Kate, it done my head in, because I was like, why aren't I a millionaire? It's all there. It's on paper. Like, it looks it. Like honestly, but like, we started talking about, I was like, I need to know, as you know in the intro, I'm so interested in the minute at like money, like the psychology of money, and like how to grow money, how to make money, earn money, how to make your money grow for you, kind of thing. So I was speaking to Kate about it, and she showed me what was in her bank, because she's gone into ICE. Oh, like, am I alright to say? She's like got ISAs anyway, and so her ISAs is making money off the interest. And I seen what was in her bank, and I was like, you have more money than me, and your friend thinks that I'm nearly a millionaire. And that's what, like, it always makes me laugh, because so on paper I own 3 companies, like on paper, and like a few years ago, if somebody would have said, hi, like, my name's Siobhan, I own 3 companies, I'd be like, she's minted, like, she's minted. And like, I swear to you, I am not minted. I am not even nearly minted. And that's what like makes me laugh. And that's obviously what I want in this podcast. And I just want to be really real. Hopefully at one time I will be absolutely minted, and I will be like, yeah, remember that time when I said I weren't minted? Well, I'm minted now, kind of thing. But yeah, it just, what social media does, and what this whole entrepreneurship like lifestyle that we live in, where you look on Instagram and they've got like the Starbucks and the driving to work and the Louboutins and the, you know, like, all that is just bullshit, and it is so untrue. There is probably 3 times last year that I can think that I wore heels. Like, my meetings are done in my scrubs in the middle of the day, where like the accountant will come, or a rep will come, or whatever will come, and I'm like, I've got a little gap in between 5 patients here. Do you want to come in then? Like, there is, all of that is just like, I mean, it may happen for some people. I generally don't believe it happens, and I haven't seen it yet. And another thing that honestly I want to squash, and I want to let you know doesn't happen, is that overnight success. I have been waiting for overnight success. I was almost certain that what was going to happen is one night I was just going to wake up, and there was just going to be this certain amount that had just fluctuated in my bank from some avenue of business. And I was going to be like, that's it, I'm a millionaire, like, I've done it. And like, it doesn't happen. It is them slow and steady, slow steps. And even still to this day, like, everything I've done, which I'm going to get back to now, everything that I've achieved, and there has not been one thing that just like happens overnight. It was just like, I got 10 sales, then I got 6 sales, then we sold none, then I got 42 sales. I had 1 client, then I had 6 clients, I had 1 student. Like, it just doesn't happen like that. And just when you're on the brink of it, where everything is like, boom, like, this is it, this is happening, bang, VAT bill. Tax man. Just honestly, just sort of like, it's not like, there's just no overnight success. There's no easy path to it. There's no, like, no, I mean, I don't know. Show me one person that it's happened to. I just don't know any that has literally just something has happened and overnight they have just like become successful. If it does happen, we will definitely have it documented, and you'll be like, no, like, told you it did happen. But for me, I just, I have not seen that yet, and I don't think it happens that way. Right. So going on to how I ended up owning my own businesses. So I leave dental nursing, move over to Africa, get a little few jobs in between. I worked in a nursery, worked in my mum and dad's washing machine shop. What else have I done? Honestly, I have done everything. And then what happened is I generally just then give in and went back to dental nursing, because it was like, I was living like the beach life, and I was like, I don't want to do 9 to 5 no more, just don't want to do. And then I was like, okay, let's just go back to, I think I needed to like get a car or something. I was like, yeah, like I need to go back to 9 to 5. So goes back to dental nursing, but what I actually done is I've done agency. Now agency money is just fantastic. I mean, I'm sure it's even better now, but it was fantastic at the time. And then I got headhunted to go and run a dental practice. It was a new dental practice that was opening, and they headhunted me, and I went and worked there. So in between, my mum had this fabulous idea. My mum and dad could never understand how I hadn't gone down to running my own business. They just couldn't understand it. They didn't understand how I had gone like down to employment. And it used to annoy them, because if we were going on a family holiday and I'd be like, I've got no holidays left, they'd be like, just tell them you'll take it without pay, because like we just don't understand like stuff like that. It's just like such an employment thing. And I'd be like to Roger, I'll just work every Saturday next month for free. And he'd be like, actually it doesn't work like that. So my mum had seen this brilliant opportunity, and it was such a cheap like rent shop. It was like an old news agent, I think, or something, or maybe a hairdresser's. And she kept talking about this shop, and she kept like talking about it, and she was like, it's only £100 a week, and imagine you could get like girls working there. And I just didn't click on. I didn't understand why she was going on about this shop so much. So then she ends up getting the shop, and she's like finishing the shop, and she's asking me all these questions like, would you do it lilac? And I'm like, Mum, I don't know. Like, I just didn't for one life of me click on whatsoever. And then being that, honestly, just like amazing woman and parents, because my dad also had a big part in it. What they'd done for me is she literally passed me the keys. Like one night, it was a full so this is what I'm going to say is I am so blessed and I am so lucky, and I'll never forget that this all come from having such blessed parents. Not everybody gets this opportunity, and one thing is, you know, they give me wings and then I flew, and I'll always like be so grateful for it, and I always know how lucky, and this isn't shit that happens every day. But she just passed me the keys, and she was like, it's yours. And I was like, what am I going to do with it? She was like, I've booked you on an eyelash course. Like, can anyone remember when I done eyelashes? I'm so sorry if I used to do your eyelashes when I first started. She'd booked me onto a semi-permanent eyelash course, and I was still working in the dentist. And she was like, it's easy. Get 3 hairdressers. They pay 60 quid a week. Get a nail girl, 50 quid a week. Get the back room rented out. The rent's paid. What you earn on your eyelashes is yours. Like, it's easy money, Ash. So that's how business-minded they were. Now it seems easy, but at the time I was like, is she joking? So I had my little pin-ups, and I was in this really nice space where I was working 9 till 5 in the dentist. I would do 6 till 9 eyelashes. And then I decided that I wanted to do aesthetics. So aesthetics was not like now. Now there is £1,000 day courses, or there's like, it's easier, it's a lot more accessible to go onto an aesthetics course. When I done it, it was a little bit hard, and it was also so unheard of. So I needed £6,000 because, as you do know, if you've watched the intro, I was in an IVA. So everything I've got, everything I've ever built up, everything I've bought, which I have accumulated so much stuff. Like we had to move our stuff into storage the other month when we were building the super builds, and I was like, how do I have all this stuff? Like where did I get all this stuff from? So much technology, so much lighting stuff, equipment, like, so everything I bought myself up until last year. Last year, once I'd finished the IVA, I took out a business loan of £12,000 to put towards building the super build. But until then, there was nothing that I could do. I couldn't finance any. And so I decided that I wanted to do an aesthetics course, and it was £6,000. So I took on a third job. And the third job was a bar job, because what has actually happened, now it's funny because now if I needed to make a third income, if I needed to generate money, I generally would go down to like the content creating. I would do TikTok. I would, I would go down that line, that like drop shipping kind of like, but then there was nothing like that. So I had the hours between 9, say 8:30, 9, and then till about 1 o'clock, and then I was like, then you need sleep. So it was a bar job. I was like, night job, yeah, let's do a bar job. And even up until Elegance was running really successfully, and I was like smashing it and still doing the bar job, and people would be like, are you not busy? And I'd be like, yeah, chopper. Like, I just loved doing the bar job. So I drove up to Chester to do then it was a foundation course, and you only learned nasolabial folds and lips. And I think then you moved on to the advanced. It could have been like £3,500 and then £3,500 advanced. It was expensive anyway for me to pay for myself at 24, I think I was. And I remember having bad imposter syndrome. Like, I was just like, I'm not medical enough, I'm not intelligent enough, these doctors are all here. I was with nurses, doctors, like, I don't speak like them, it's in Chester, I'm so scouse, and like, I still generally, like, now, drop a little message to the doctor who taught me, or sometimes I'd go up to Chester for like a new like course or whatever, and he's watched my business grow so much, and probably my confidence as well, because I just remember being like, if I speak too much to this man, he's going to go, you can't do this, you're not going to pass. But I did, I fucking passed with Thrive and stars, colours, red star, no gold star. I passed, and when I drove home, I remember sobbing, like I cried my eyes out. Like, I'm not joking, uncontrollably cried my eyes out. Up until then, in my early 20s, I'd been through a lot of trauma, and it's probably something that will come up in the future and we will speak about, maybe, I don't know. But just so that you know why it was so emotional for me to pass is I'd lost 2 babies in my early 20s, and I'd had a failed relationship, split up with my ex and whatever, and this was like, there's always that saying when something like that happens, that trauma happens, and people will say to you, like, what's meant for you doesn't pass you by, or there'll be a reason, Ash, you just and I remember like I used to be like, how fucking dare you say that, like how can you say that, like, I've lost a baby kind of thing. And anyone who has going through that, been through it, gone through it kind of thing, like, you just can't accept that, you just can't hear it. And I remember just driving home from Chester and had passed, and I remember being like, this is something, this is it. And like, in another lifetime I was going to be a mum, and there was no way else, didn't have my own business, didn't have, and like, I just remember being like, just uncontrollably crying my eyes out, just so happy, so proud, and just so excited for the future. And look, like, it's fine, yeah. So if you are someone who's going through something like that, like, I do promise you that one day, hopefully not in always circumstances, but most in one day, something will just click, and you will just, it will make sense in some mad way. So passed my foundation and set up in Pinups. Now Pinups is a salon that is like Prosecco Saturday. It's like fun, like girls are getting ready, they're drinking when they're going, like getting ready, doing the makeup and stuff like that. And then I was trying to be super professional and super like medical and stuff, and it just didn't mix together at all. So I come to the hard decision. It was still to this day one of the hardest business decisions I have made in my career. And I come to this decision and I decided to give up Pinups, and I was going to base in West Derby. I rented a single room in like an old Victorian house. It was a salon, but the salon was downstairs, and it was super, super quiet, super tranquil, super. So I was in this beautiful little phase in my career where I literally, my outgoings were my stock and was the rent for the single room. So I was in this gorgeous little phase, and that's what I always like to, you know, when people ask me about it and people say, I say, don't take for granted them years or them months and that where your outgoings aren't so crazy. Like, they are your building blocks. When you've got that little bit more financial freedom to book courses and to expand and to now, you know, my outgoings are just crazy at the minute. Like, business outgoings are just really, really high, and I don't ever take for granted them earlier days where literally I think my outgoings were £400 a month, something like that. So I was just building and building. Like, there was a joke between my parents and my dad used to say, like, the only course that she has not been on is a golf course, because I just absolutely just started just going on every course that I could. But what I did do, and there's this big misconception in the industry, and this is coming from someone who owns an aesthetics clinic. What I think is wrong is what happens is there's so much pressure on practitioners to go on there's a new course, there's a new treatment, there's a new thing you need to, and like I generally feel like there is like jack of all trades. There's just a lot of that going on. For me, what I've done is the last treatment course I've been on was probably about 3 years ago, because I just got good at what I done. I just got comfortable. I seen what I liked. There's still treatments now that I don't offer, because I'm really good at that. So now let me get really perfect at it. Right. I really enjoy that. So and I just took them years to kind of do that. I don't believe in, you know, just keep course, treatment. I don't, you know, half of them are just trends and just TikTok, like fads that are going to like come out like that. People don't get them anymore anyway. But so I was just in this nice little space of building. I was getting so much financially smarter. One thing was because of that IVA, it just programmed me, it trained me so much better. I just become so much more business savvy. I just really took that time, and what has happened is it become a business. It like bloomed into a business. Before then it was a little bit of a hobby, it was a little bit of and then all of a sudden it just become this fabulous business that I've created around me. And then bang, COVID.